Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to your 2 p.m. slot with the Toolbox. Lovely to practice with you and to have this opportunity to connect and to explore our bodies, our minds, our hearts, and our emotions. We are working with the second chakra, the Sacral Chakra. It's about, in the body, it's located about 2 fingers below the belly button, and is close to our sexual organs and is also in line with the hips. So the sacral chakra regulates our ability to give and to receive pleasure. So it really interrogates your relationship with pleasure. If you think you deserve it, if you think you're entitled to it. And sometimes a relationship with pleasure can be sort of like a punitive one, so you think you have to earn it, and understanding that sometimes pleasure is great just for pleasure's sake. And it also explores our creativity. I think that the current situation has really forced us all to be creative, whether it's in how to use our resources, how to work with the recipes we have, with the ingredients we have in our pantry, or even how to maintain connection with people who we can't see and touch. So those everyday acts of creativity are really empowering and are as important as part of us keeping our creative juices flowing. And also it works with our emotions. So we all have varied relationships with our emotions. Some of us are in touch with them, some of us shy away from them. And you know, Yogi Bhajan says that your emotions can either lead to commotion or devotion. And I like that idea because it just says that emotions in and of themselves aren't good or bad, but it's more around your relationship with them. And even this is also sometimes conditioned by factors outside of ourselves. So if you're from a family of maybe scientists or very rational people, emotions aren't seen as something that are valuable. You know, I was raised by some scientists, so emotions weren't really seen as a valid source of knowledge. Or maybe if you are raised with creatives, then you're encouraged to follow your emotions. But sometimes how we feel or relate to our emotions is something which is decided outside of ourselves. And even as women, there can be shame around being emotional. And so the shadow side of the sacral chakra is sense of guilt. And sacral chakra, the second chakra, also relates to fear and your ability to confront and overcome fears. The element is water, so it's about flow around fluidity, your capacity to change. And I like that because with fluidity is a reminder of impermanence. Because sometimes I think we're scared to feel our emotions because you're like, oh, I feel jealous, and you just don't want to acknowledge it because you're like, you're going to get stuck there. But emotions are also impermanent, and they can shift and they can change, specifically when we move them through our body, when we acknowledge them. And I think our emotions are like children. If you don't give them attention, they're going to end up having like some sort of a tantrum. But when you acknowledge them and see them for what they are, then that acknowledgement, in a sense, gives them permission to be released and allow them to move on to the next moment. With all of that said, we're going to keep exploring this idea, keep tuning into the sacral chakra. The color is orange, the element, as I mentioned, is water. And so working with quite a few hip openers, it will be a steady practice. So kind of steady, slow, quite gentle, a lot of floor work. It's also full moon, which is tomorrow. And the sacral chakra is ruled by the moon energy, which is yin, slightly more passive. So it's not the sort of fire energy of the third chakra, but more the passive, lunar, feminine. So I encourage you to explore this energy, this type of energy, which allows you, which actually asks you to listen and to tune in. So no forcing, but more working with what your body allows. So I look forward to guiding you through your practice for the next hour or so. Caesar will be my live student, and let's get into it. So coming into a comfortable cross-legged position, grabbing the blocks of hands.
Zamo,
Yes. Yes.
my computer keeps going in and out. So with the audio, so if you could talk a little slower than normal, because it goes in and goes out. So I get kind of half the sentence, you know what I'm saying? That's why I'm sitting, I'm trying to hear, and I've got it turned up all the way. I don't know if anybody has that trouble. Is it just my machine?
Okay, it might be network, but I will definitely, as we go through the class, try to speak a little bit slower and maybe I'll have gaps between what I say so that you don't have a sense.
Okay, thank you.
That you've lost anything. Okay. But we're talking emotions, we're talking creativity, and we're talking flow, and we're talking about energy, which is a feminine energy, which is about allowing and listening and receiving. So I look forward to guiding you through the next hour. Okay, so I'll step behind the camera and see you. Okay. Cool. So we're going to start out in a cross-legged position, as I mentioned. So finding your sit bones either on some support or directly onto the floor beneath you. And allowing your shoulders to relax away from your ears. Soften your jaw. Soften the face. And connect with the steady and stable rhythm of your breath. We breathe in and out of the nostrils unless the nose is blocked. So inhaling and exhaling through the nose. This activates our parasympathetic system, signaling to the body that we're safe, that it's all right to be here. I'd like you to take your hands to the space just below your lower belly. So one hand will come to about 2 fingers before the lower belly, before the belly button. And the other hand will go to the small of your back. Yeah, so just under the belly button, and the other hand in the corresponding position on your lower back. And as you have one hand just below the lower belly, one hand onto the small of the back, you can visualize this energy center. It's a space of creation. It's an area of fertility. It's a space of possibility. So just envisioning yourself breathing into the sacral chakra. Drawing energy into it with each in-breath. And clearing space with each out-breath. These first few moments are what we really use to give ourselves full permission to engage with what we're doing. So if you've got any distracting thoughts, give yourself this time to clear the space. Last few breaths here. And then you can bring your hands out to your side, pressing your fingertips into the ground. And as you press the fingertips into the ground, lengthen the spine up. And then you can gently flutter your eyes open. The first movement we're going to do is one that's going to invite opening into that hip area. So you're going to extend your left leg out, and you're going to grab your right ankle. And what we're doing is we're swinging that knee forwards and back. And as we hold the foot, we're just rotating and opening into the hip area. I also like to think of it as beginning to shine up the aura, the electromagnetic field around us. So just imagining that knee brushing the energy field around you. Feel free to play with that left leg. Sometimes some people feel a bit steadier if they bend the left leg. bending the heel in towards the groin. So find a position that works for you. You can either stay rocking just like that, or if it's available to you, you can take the shin in closer towards the body, interlacing the fingers around the shin with the sole of the foot sitting inside the elbow. And as we're doing this, we are rocking the baby. I like to think of us in conversation with our inner child, the space where some of our ideas around our emotions were formed. So if you've got a rough or uncomfortable relationship with your emotions, just rocking that child and giving yourself permission to feel. If you're holding your shin, I'd like you to pause and then squeeze that shin in towards the body and then gently release the leg back down. You're going to extend the right leg out now. So holding the left ankle, left foot, and we're rocking. Once again, maybe the leg is more comfortable extended out, or maybe you want to bend the knee. And then this is the time, if you want to take it a bit further, to hug your baby close to you. Last few moments, soothing the inner child. And then pause, draw the shin in. You can also use this moment to lift the back up, lifting the chest up. And then you can bring the foot back down. I'd like you to now come onto your back. So just relaxing the body down towards the ground. We're going to keep the knees bent and the feet flat on the floor. And what we're going to be doing is pelvic tilts. So it's the same motion we do when we're in cat-cow, where we move the tailbone up and down. So when we're on our back, we'd like to think of the tailbone coming up towards the rib cage. So as you do this, the back is going to flatten onto the floor. And then as you exhale, you're going to tilt the pubic bone away from the rib cage, and you're going to see that the back arches slightly, and you get a space between the back and the mat. So keep going, tilting the pubic bone up towards the rib cage, flattening the back, and then tilting the tailbone, the pubic bone away from the rib cage as you arch. So it's a gentle rocking motion. You can also support and sometimes bring a bit more a container for the movement by engaging your lower belly slightly. But here we're feeling into that sacral area. It can be quite stiff sometimes, and this affects the stability we feel in other postures. So even though it's a slight and subtle movement, really allow yourself to fully tune into it. Few more rocks and rolls. And then you can pause. You're now going to press into the feet, and I want you to lift your feet, your hips off the ground. So it's a small distance, not too high. And you're going to be swinging your hips from side to side. So first the left hip's going to sort of move up, then the right hip. So it's a small semicircle motion. It's like a smile. So just gently tilting left and then to right. Just smiling, creating a smile with those hips. So tilting so that right hip bone goes up, right tailbone. So yeah, each alternating between the hip bones. You can also press the hands into the floor to just support you so that you've got a steady base. Remembering to keep that breath flowing. One more smile to each side. If you feel like you need a break, you can bring your hips down. Otherwise, we're going to move directly into the next motion, which is circling. So the hips are going to stay off the ground and we're going to circle. So making a circular round motion. So hips coming down towards the ground and then up. So kind of like the other motions, just feel what feels appropriate for your hips. So we're just doing like a windy, windy motion. This is really good for stirring up our creative waters, for connecting with the energy in our womb. Last few twirls. And then you can bring the hips back down to the floor. We're going to, I'd like you to bring your arms off the ground now, and you're going to keep your forearms parallel to the floor, grabbing opposite arm to opposite elbow. So you are sort of creating a box shape, and try to keep the shoulders grounding into the floor. And what you're going to do is you're going to extend your elbows over to each side of the body. So first, the left elbow is going to reach out and extend across the body, straightening the right elbow. It might not go straight. And then you're going to be guided by the right elbow moving across the body. So the feet are still, and we're just shifting, being guided by each elbow. So each elbow leads the direction. So just taking the arms across the body, keeping that connection of hand to elbow as you move from side to side. So the rest of the body is still, it's just the hands moving. Okay, come back to the center. So keep the arms still for a moment. And now we're going to coordinate this movement with the legs as well. So you want to open your feet out as wide as your mat. So slightly, perhaps even wider, and you're going to send, let's actually just do legs first before we combine. So send your knees down towards the left side, and then send your knees towards the right side. So both knees moving in the same direction at the same time. And then I see some of you are doing it, you're going to be doing opposite. So as the elbows move towards the left, the knees move towards the right. So you're going to move your knees and your elbows in opposite directions. So that same motion we were doing with the elbows traveling across the body, you're going to keep doing that in the arms, and then the knees are moving from side to side. Might take a bit of coordination and focus. But once you find it, find the flow. And if you don't find it, this is a creative class, so just feel into your own movement and trust it. This is a class where I invite you to just go with what feels good. We'll do a few more side to side. And then you can come back to center. Keep your left leg bent, straighten out your right leg. And then you're going to lift that left foot off the floor, interlacing the fingers around the left knee. First, draw the knee directly in towards your chest, and then take the knee slightly outwards so that the knee is being drawn in towards the left armpit. If you engage the right leg by flexing the right toes in towards the face and pressing the back of the right leg into the ground, you'll find that that gives you space to stretch a little bit more into that left hip and groin. So keeping the breath flowing, you're going to keep using the energy in the arms to draw the knee in towards the armpit. And then let's rotate into the ankles 3 times before we release. So just tuning into that ankle joint. 3 times one direction, then take it the other direction. Pause, and then release the knee down. So straightening the left leg now. And bringing the right knee in towards the chest first. Interlacing the fingers. Engaging into that left foot, so the toes are pointing in towards the face. Left kneecap pointing into the mat. Then take the right knee away from the chest in towards the armpits. And enjoy that stretch, that opening. Might feel it in the glutes as well. Remembering the fullness and the steadiness of your breath. And then let's round off with our ankle rotation. So 3 times in one direction. And then 3 times in the opposite. Bring your left knee up to join your right. And then take your hands behind your knees. We're going to rock forwards and backwards a few times. And then eventually rock yourself forward and come onto all fours. So we're setting up for a variation of cat-cow. So cat-cow is formed, the base foundation is a tabletop position. So hands underneath the shoulders, knees underneath the hips. You want your knees about hip width apart. So just look in between and see that you don't see your feet. If you do see your feet, then just open them up a little bit more so that the feet are hidden behind the knees. Tops of the feet are flat and fingers are active. So we're trying to close the gap between the knuckles and the mat, and we've got space between the fingertips. Our hands are stronger when they're slightly open. So in this version, you're going to inhale, extending. We'll start with the right leg. So reach the right leg back behind you. So a straight leg pointing back. You're going to see that back arching. And when you exhale, you're going to round the back and draw the knee towards the opposite elbow. So the right knee is going to go with the left elbow. So you're crossing the knee across the body as you come in. Inhale, leg goes straight back. Exhale. Right knee, left elbow. So take the knee across the body. Yes, there we go, Giselle. Inhale, extend the leg back. Exhale, knee to opposite elbow. Let's do 2 more. You're getting the hang of it. Inhale, leg up. Take the knee across to the elbow. Last one. Inhale. And draw that knee across to the elbow. So Amina, taking the knee to connect with the opposite elbow. So that right knee should move towards the left elbow. You want the knee to cross the body. Okay, we'll get it on the other side. So now we're going to send the left leg, extend the left leg back, breath in, and draw the left knee in towards the right elbow. So we cross the knee across the body. There we go. Inhale, leg goes up. Exhale, knee goes across the body. Yes, you got it. Inhale, stand up. Exhale, cross the body. Last one. Inhale, leg up. Exhale, knee crosses. Nice. And then bring both knees back down to the ground. I'd like you to sit your hips onto the heels. So we're coming into Vajrasana. If this posture is uncomfortable for you for any reason, then we're not going to be here for long. We're actually moving into a lunge. So you're going to lift the hips up. Okay, so lifting the hips up off the knees, and then you're going to step the left foot forward. Let's start with the left foot. And the alignment of the foot is that you want it to be underneath the knee. So there's a 90-degree angle between the left foot and the left knee. As Sizwe has done, feel free to bring support for that right knee. And then before we lunge, I want you to just get used to this motion of that protects your so your lower back. So in the same way that we tilted our pelvis forward slightly, I want you to do the same thing here. So tilt the pelvis so that the pubic bone moves up towards the chest. And that same way that we did. And before, so just tilting the pelvis forward slightly, and then inhale, lift your arms up above the head, keeping the tilt, and then exhale to lunge. So when we tilt the pelvis slightly, we make sure that we don't arch into the lower back, because as we do this, we're going to create strain. Inhale, let's come up. So aligning back into a 90 degree with the foot and the knee. Exhale, let's come into the lunge. So the knees moving over the toes. Inhale, come up. And exhale, lunge. We'll stay here for 2 breaths. So you can either just stay here using the energy to hold the posture, or if you can, lift the chest up towards the ceiling as you send the shoulders back and open up through the front of the body. Come back up on an inhale and exhale, hands back down to the floor. And then step that left leg back. And the right foot is coming forward now. So we're coming onto the other side. So the block or the support, the pillow, sometimes just folding up your mat can give you the support you need. Okay, so I want us once more to tilt the tailbone forward, so the pubic bone moves up towards the chest. That's the direction we want it. Okay. Then once you've got that tilt, hold it, engaging the lower belly, and then when you exhale, send the hips forward, sending the knee towards the tops of the toes. Inhale, hips come back up. Exhale, lunge. Inhale, up. Exhale, lunge. Inhale, up. And exhale, we're going to hold the lunge this time. And then check in with your tilt. Maybe your back is overarching, so tucking in, yes. And then lift the chest up. So that beautiful dynamic motion of grounding the hips down, but at the same time, there's an extension and there's a reaching through the upper body. Last breath here. Come out steadily, coming out the lunge, and then releasing the hands back down to the floor. We're going to come up to standing now. So time to lengthen through the whole body. So coming up to standing, and we're going to be doing a moon salutation. So we're going to be working horizontally down our mat. So coming into Tadasana, which is our base standing posture. In Tadasana, we also known as mountain, we are channeling those energies of the mountain, the steady stability. So depending on your hips, sometimes it's more comfortable to keep the feet slightly apart. Otherwise, you can bring the feet together with the big toes touching and some space between the heels. And I want you to have a sense of drawing the earth energy up. So feel that your foot is grounded firmly and you are drawing the energy up through the legs, lifting up the kneecaps. You're also once more going to tuck that, tilt that pelvis slightly forward so that we are not arching into the lower back, lower belly up and in. Gaze is nice and steady. We can roll our shoulders up and then roll them back so that we've got an open chest, open heart, and we're looking forward to the horizon line and really feeling that we are right exactly where we're supposed to be, fully present in our body and our breath. Okay, so to begin our salutation, we're going to inhale, drawing the arms above the head and touching the palms together. If you struggle to hold your palms together, you can also cross the thumbs to just help support you to find that. Connection between the palms. So inhale, you're going to draw the ribcage up away from the hips. And as you exhale, we're going to tilt towards the left side first. Coming into a half moon. Inhale, come back to center. Exhale, we're going over towards the other side. Inhale, come back up to center. As you exhale, you're opening the arms and the legs and you're coming into goddess. So goddess is a direct conversation with our creative being and connecting with all our powers of creation. So to protect your knees in goddess, I want you to be sure that your knees are not collapsing inwards. So you've got to engage those inner thighs so that the knee is tracking towards the second toe. Once more, tilt the pelvis in slightly. So pubic bone moving up towards the chest so that you're not putting too much pressure into the lower back. So there's a strong grounding through the legs, and at the same time, nice and open in the chest. And then feel your way into how far you can squat. So be kind to your knees, be gentle to your lower back. Nice and powerful, looking great. So keeping the lower body steady, we're going to rotate the torso. So we're going to inhale towards the left with the arms open, exhale towards the right. So inhaling left and exhaling right. Yes, beautiful. So we really have to find the stability in the lower body, but the flexibility in the upper body. All right, so we're going to go one more to each side. My goddesses, you're looking powerful. And then once you've completed, come back to center. From here, we're transitioning into triangle. So the right foot is going to come parallel to the short end of the mat. The left toes are going to point towards the other end of the mat. We're going to be gazing towards the middle finger of the left hand. Okay, and then you're going to draw yourself forward as if I'm pulling you forward with the left hand, drawing yourself out to the back of the right hip. So you want to go so far forward that you want to feel like your top shoulder is in line with your knee. That's what you're aiming for. And when you can't go any further, you're going to windmill the left hand in front of the left knee and the right hand up. So we're aiming for a straight left leg. But if you're still struggling, feel free to have a slight bend in the left knee. Otherwise, both legs are straight. And we're twisting the bottom rib cage forward and the top rib cage up. So this posture is a hip opener. It's also a nice twist for the upper torso. One more breath here. And then we're going to come out of it, lifting the arms up, keeping them up by the side. Keeping them towards the side. We're turning in towards a forward to face towards the top end of the mat. So your right foot is going to swivel so that it faces towards the left foot. And then we're going to inhale the arms up. So we're going to hold this balance so the heel is off the ground. And we're going to hold here for 2 breaths. You might also want to kiss the palms together if you'd like, just to add to that sensation of just lengthening and drawing the energy upwards through the fingertips. It's you have to really engage into the lower core to balance here. We'll hold for 1 more breath. And then we're going to fold forward. So you can lower the hands down towards the chest. And we're not going to go all the way forward at first. And I invite you here to shuffle the legs. You might need to close the gap so that you feel a little bit steadier. Okay, so staying. And then hands at your heart center. You're bowing towards the floor. So we're lengthening the collarbone forward. Holding. And then if it's available to you, bring your hands down towards the floor as you come into a forward fold. So keeping the legs straight and tucking your chin in towards the chest. Yes, there we go. This is called pyramid. It can be quite strong in the hamstrings. So if you're feeling something at the backs of your legs, that's perfectly normal. And then from this forward fold, we're going to drop the back knee down towards the ground. And we're going to come into a lunge. So that lunge we practiced, inhale, lifting the arms up above the head. And then remember to tuck in the tailbone so that you don't aggravate the lower back. And then send the knee forward towards the toes. So dropping the hips down, yes, and finding your lunge. But at the same time, you keep the chest lifted up. Yes, nice, Amina. Inhale, reach up one more time. And then exhale, bring your hands back down towards the floor as you come out of the lunge. You're going to lift the knee up, and then you're going to step that back foot forward, and then swivel so that you are facing, so that your feet are parallel again to the short end of the mat, so that we can do the other side. Yeah, there we go. And then gently roll yourself up to standing, extending the arms up above the head. Okay, so we're in candle with the arms above. So seeing yourself as a nice bright light shining through the fingertips. Let's inhale, lengthen up, ribcage moves away from the hips. Exhale, let's go towards the right. Inhale, come up. Exhale, go towards the left. Inhale, come back to center, and then back into goddess. Step up and into your mat, taking up space. So a few points for stability. Another thing to watch out for, if you've got flat feet, you sometimes want to roll onto the inside of the feet. So just keep engaging those inner arches so that you're not totally collapsing into the ankles. Activate the inner thighs so that those knees are pointing towards the second toe. Let's remember that slight pelvic tuck so that we're not arching the back. Try to keep the elbows in line with the shoulders, palms nice and open. We're open to our emotions. We're open to everything that we're feeling. We're open to this moment. And then let's bring the movement in. Inhaling to the left, exhaling to the right. Inhaling to the left and exhaling to the right. Few more times to each side. And then gently bring yourself back to center. We're moving into triangle on the other side. So now it's the left toes are parallel to the short end of the mat. The right toes are pointing in the same direction as the fingertips. And then we're going to do that extension of the upper body. So draw yourself out of that back hip, sending that right shoulder towards the knee. And then when you can't go further, swiveling. So the hand is going in front of the knee. And we do this so that we don't collapse the body into the leg. So we are still engaging the core so that there's a lifting up and out the hip. You're either looking to the top if your neck allows it. Otherwise, you're looking down towards the toes. And I'd like you to imagine that there's a glass, that there's a wall behind you and that both of your butt cheeks would be on that wall. So rotating into the hips open so that you can rest your butt cheeks against that wall. Last breath here. And then gently lifting yourself up and out. We're turning into a forward lunge on the other side. So now the left finger, we're coming onto the ball of the left foot. And we're extending the arms up. If it's difficult for your shoulders for you to connect the palms above the head, it's fine for the palms to face each other. But if you can, crossing at the thumbs and keeping the fingertips pointing up. Feel the strength and stability needed in your legs to hold you here. Keep rolling that left shoulder, left hip forward. One more inhale, reach up. And then draw your hands in towards your chest first. Get stable here. And then you're reaching, sending the collarbone forward. So you're bowing forward. You're not going to go all the way initially. So just reaching forward, really engaging into that back leg to support you. And then if you can, if it's available to you, finish off the forward fold by tucking chin in towards the chest and releasing the hands down. And adjust the legs if you need to. Completely surrender the neck. You know, with the emotions, they often require surrender. We can't always control them. So our forward folds remind us of this important virtue of surrender, of letting go. We're going to move into our lunge. So you're going to bring the back knee down towards the ground. And then lifting the hands up. So you can start before you sink the hips down. See, so starting with the hips in line with the knee so that we can have that pelvic tilt. And then once you've secured that, then I want you to go into the lunge. So knee is moving towards the toes. And remember the dynamism, we're rooting down, but we're reaching up. So I'm pulling you up through the center of the chest, lifting the chest up. And then on your next exhale, you can come out of the lunge, bring the hands down towards the ground. And then bring the knees back in line with each other. Oh, sorry. Coming to standing forward and then turning towards the front of the room, forward fold, and then gently roll yourself back up. Okay, we're going to come back onto the floor now. So I'd like you to sit lengthwise, see, so that they can see you. We're going to do Janu Shavasana, which is head to knee pose. And before we move into that, I'd like you to find Dadasana, which is staff pose. So extend your legs out. And this posture requires the activation of your legs. So in the same way that we had to draw the kneecaps up and engage the feet and the quads, we do the same, but when we're sitting. Drawing the lower belly up and in, a reminder of that activation that we're working into this hip area and supporting the lower belly. And hands are either close to you, pressing into the ground. That just is a nice ruler for the spine, or you can send the hands out slightly to the side. So whatever reminds you to lengthen up. Gaze is nice and steady, chin is at neutral. So you are like nice and perpendicular, so legs and the torso at 90 degrees to one another. Okay, so from here, you're going to keep the left leg straight, and we're going to bend the right knee, bringing the sole of the right foot into the, oh, so they can see, okay. So we're bringing the sole of the foot into the left inner thigh, okay. If for some reason that's not comfortable for you, you can also bring the foot slightly lower. So sometimes the foot only reaches the knee or even lower. So finding the variation which honors your body and where you're at. And then from here, I'd like you to twist your chest slightly so that the chest remains in line with the straight knee. Okay. And sometimes we arch here. So just remembering to lengthen the back up. Okay, so still keeping that nice straight extended spine. Inhale, lift the arms up, palms facing each other, engage the core so that you really are supported. And we're not going to go all the way yet. We're just going to tilt a third of the way. So we're just tilting forward about a third of the way. Check in that you haven't rounded your back. Keep sending the collarbone forward. Take another breath in. Let's go a little bit further down, still not all the way. Yes, nice. Arms are in line with the ears. Another breath in, lift and extend, and then exhale. Now you allow your hands to settle where they settle. So it might be that your hands on either side of the knee. Maybe you can take your feet and interlace them around the bottom of your foot. Doesn't matter how far you go, but what you're going to feel is that sense of lengthening out of the lower spine. With all the sitting we do, there's a lot of compression into the lower back. And so a forward fold is just an opportunity to draw, to decompress that lower back. And this posture is called head to knee. So whether the head is directly on the knee or reaching towards it, we're giving ourselves permission to soften into the upper body. This is great for the digestive system. Our digestive system is very much linked to our emotions. Often how we feel influences our ability to eat. So really good to be conscious of these cues that tell us about how we're feeling. Last few breaths here. If your mind has wandered, come back to the breath, come back to the body. And then we're going to try come up with a straight back. So engaging the core so that we can support the back. Bring your arms on either side of the ear and then lengthening up. Bring the arms on either side, strong core. And then release the hands down to the side. You're now going to create some space between the inner thigh and the sole of the foot. So first we're going to move that foot away from the thigh. No, so just creating space. So you're just opening, it's still going to be bent, but you're separating the foot from the inner thigh. All right. Okay, so the hips are going to open slightly. And then you're going to take your left hand towards your right hip. So it's, sitting across the lap with the palm facing up. So facing the palm up, there we go. And we're going to extend the right arm up and you're coming into a side stretch. So that the fingertips are moving away from the shoulder. And so you've got both hands moving away from each other. So it's quite a strong side stretch. So the left hand's moving towards the right hand's moving towards the left. So it might feel more comfortable for you to look up towards the top arm, or maybe your neck might like to look down. I'd like you to feel what feels good for you here. Few more breaths. And then you're going to lift the body up. So coming out of the side stretch, keeping the top arm lifted, you're going to bring bring it behind the body. So you're going to bring it just behind the hips, and you're going to press into the legs and lift the hips up. Yes, so you're extending into the straight leg and you're lifting the hips up. Yes, so pressing into the foots of the left leg and arching through the body. It's quite a nice dramatic posture. Enjoy the drama. And then gently lower yourself back down. Okay, so remembering our creativity, you can't exactly see Caesar, so just feel what feels good with that one, but it's really just about opening the heart, opening the chest. We're going to do the other side now. So, no, what I'm saying is once they're in the posture, they can't see you, unless they stay, So we're going to start with Janu Shirshasana. So the leg is straight, the right leg is straight. You're not opening up. So starting with the foot tucked into the inner thigh. So now it's the left foot tucked into the right inner thigh. We're starting in that head to knee posture. I see that we've lost some of our alignment. So just bring your hands out to your side, pressing into the fingertips so that you can lengthen up, remembering that nice extended spine. Yes, nice. Then let's inhale. So that straight leg, the kneecap is drawing up, the toes are flexed towards the face. There's an engagement in that leg. Inhale, exhale. Let's go 1/3 of the way. Arms by the ears, engaging control. Take a breath in. A little bit further forward. Yes, and then one more breath before folding all the way forward. So allow your hands to relax. Doesn't matter how far you go. Soften. Breathing into the back body as the front body is compressed. Notice if the side feels different from the other side. And then we're going to come out of it. So hands extending forward, engaging the lower belly, contracting navel towards the spine as you come up with a nice straight back. Lift up and exhale. to soften the hands down. Might be a bit lightheaded because you've been upside down. Take a moment and then separate the sole of the foot from the inner thigh. So it's just moving the foot away slightly, not such a big gap, just a slight separation. There we go. Okay, so we're coming into our side twist. So does it better? Okay, that's more available to you. Okay. All right. So now we're going to send the right hand towards the left hip. And the left hand is lifting up. And then we're arching over. So the hands are pointing in opposite directions from each other. We're stretching those intercostal muscles in the rib cage. We're also drawing ourselves out of that back hip. Allow your breath to ground and stabilize you here. And then bring yourself back up, keeping the top arm reaching up. You're going to send it back behind you to give you support for the hip lift. So you're going to press into the back hand. You're going to ground through the extended leg, and then you're going to lift the hips up as you arch the back. And really open into the front of the body, shining your heart out. One more breath here. And then exhale, lowering the hips down. Okay, we've reached the top of the mountain. So that was, and now we're on our way back down. So just coming onto your stomach. Okay, yeah, so just starting with your forehead onto the ground with the knee grazing, and you can bring your hands to the side with the palms facing up. So, yeah. And just taking a moment in this position, your spine's most natural alignment. And then you're going to bring your hands forward so that you are, hands are just underneath your shoulders. Okay. All right. So keeping the hips pressing into the ground, you're going to lift your left leg up. So you'll be working into the back of the muscles in the back of the thigh. So try not to lift the hip up. The hip stays connected to the ground, and you're just gently lifting the leg off. Okay, we're going to hold here. You can either point or flex into that back foot just to keep awareness into it. Let's see if you can take it up a little bit higher without lifting the hip off the ground, just working into the back of the leg. And then you can bring the foot back down. Now we're going to allow the hip to lift off the ground. So once more, the left leg lifts up. And then you're going to send the left leg onto the floor behind the right leg. So bringing the sole of the foot flat behind you. Yes. Bending into the knee. Yes, exactly. Amina, all right. So as we're doing this, we're opening into that top hip. Yeah, you were right, Carrie. As you were doing, it was perfectly right. Yeah. Yes, that's perfect. There we go. And then you can lift the leg back up and over. So coming back onto your stomach. Oh, I know. Okay, so as we do this side, let's open the arms out with the palms facing down. Okay, so now keeping the hip bones connected to the ground, you're going to lift that right leg off the ground, either pointing or flexing into that right foot for awareness. So keep the hip bone connected to the ground. One more breath here. See if you can take it to your edge. And then release the leg down. Okay, now we're allowing the right hip to come off the ground as we lift the leg up as high as we can before sending that right leg behind the left. and rolling onto the back shoulder. So this can be also quite a strong shoulder opener. And you can play around with that back foot, either sort of moving it down towards the foot, the other foot, or yeah. So the position of that foot influences how and where you'll experience the opening. So this is another one where you have freedom of movement to really just find the place where it feels good for your hip. Last few breaths here. And then gently come back onto your tummy. Okay, we're going to do something called lifted lizard. So we're going to start by bending the left knee, and so that the sole of the left foot is pointing up towards the ceiling. And you can actually bring your chin onto the ground. Yeah, so that might feel more comfortable. Okay. So everyone's right, left knee bent, that's right. So now left knee bent. You're now going to lift your right leg up and see if you can put it onto the shelf that you created with the left foot. Yes, there we go. And once you've got it onto your shelf, so play around with it a bit. Just to hold that. And then once you've got it up there, see if you can straighten that top leg. So I'm just straightening. Yes, there we go. And so it's, yes, there we go, Carrie, you've got it. So it's just stretching through the hip flexor. And then when you're ready to come out of it, lift the leg off the foot and straighten out both legs again. Right, we're going to bend the right knee now. So that's now the shelf. The left leg is going to come up, and it's quite an intuitive thing. Just kind of feel around for that place where your knee finds the top of the foot. We don't usually move like this, so it's okay. Feel your way into it. And once you're there, breathing into the opening that you're creating in that hip joint. And then bringing the foot off the shelf. Relax both your feet back onto the floor so legs are straight behind you. Caesar's rocking a bit from side to side. If you feel like you need to do that, you can as well. And then we're going to push ourselves back into child's pose. So lift the hips up and send the hips back towards the heels. You can open the knees or you can keep them together. And just send the arms out in front of you, lowering the head down towards the ground. When I'm in child's pose, I like to think of myself opening space for my wings to grow. So just really imagining the wings that we're developing on our backs. Breathing into the space in the hips. Enjoying the surrender of the head to the ground. Sometimes we've got to keep the head and the mind out of it and allow our other sources of intelligence, our emotions, our instinct, our intuition to guide us. So this head down is a reminder of that, of the power of emotions, the power of our senses, our feelings, the sensations. Allow yourself to get completely immersed in feeling, not thinking. And then gently make your way out of this, preparing to come onto your back. So we're coming into our Shavasana. Our posture of consolidation, of integration. That reminder that before we rush to the next thing, it's important to take stock of and make sense of what we've done before. Release any control over the breath, any hold of the muscles. Make any final adjustments you need to so that you can completely give yourself to this relaxation. And then for the last time, just check in with the jaw. Soften the tongue from the roof of the mouth. Release the brow. And just allow your breath to breathe you. I discovered a new term in the last few weeks, and it's called pleasure activism. And pleasure activism recognizes that there is a politics to pleasure, and that there are many voices in our society which tell us and which decide who can feel pleasure and what we have to do to deserve pleasure. And pleasure activism is a reminder that we're all entitled to experience pleasure, that it's not something we should be ashamed of. So some of the principles are that you deserve to feel good, physically, mentally, and spiritually. That moderation is key. The idea is not to be in a heady state of ecstasy at all times, but rather to learn how to sense when something is good for you. The other principle of pleasure activism is that when I am happy, it is good for the world. So people who are rooted in sensing and seeking pleasure and bring that energy into their work and relationship are shining a light for others. There is a path that isn't full of stress, self-doubt, pain, victimization, and suffering. There's a path of pleasure which involves learning, playing, practicing, and doing things anew. And that pleasure comes from riding the line between commitment and detachment. So it's about committing to your process, to what you're doing, but not being too attached to specific outcomes. And there's also this idea of pleasure for pleasure's sake. So hoping that you can continue to keep cultivating a relationship with your pleasure, with your sense of emotions. We're going to start micro movements, preparing to come out of our Shavasana. Doing what feels good for you. It might be rolling your neck from side to side. It might be a good old full body stretch. Maybe you want to hug your knees into your chest. Just listen to the sensations and feel what's going to feel good for you in this moment. Honoring your body, the day you've had. And then when you're ready, rocking over to your side, coming into a fetal position. I love this position because I think it's a soothing one. And I think, you know, babies, we see them, they learn how to self-soothe. And I think self-soothing is just as important for us adults. To keep connected to the things that make us feel safe, that make us feel secure. And then with as little movement as possible, try to keep your eyes closed as you gently come up to a seated position. Keeping your eyes closed, turning your palms upwards, relaxed onto your knees. Take a few deep, soothing breaths here. Let's bring our hands back onto that space just before the belly, just below the belly button. So both hands onto the front. So yeah, both hands hugging the space below the lower belly, connecting with our wombs, our places of creation, the seat of our emotions. Just breathing into this area. Thanking our body for its creative wisdom. Thanking for our emotions, for guiding us. Acknowledging the water element within us, which allows us to keep flowing and riding and adapting to all of the changes that keep coming our way. Let's bring our hands to our heart center and a final act of acknowledgement and gratitude. Bow your head towards your hands, acknowledging the heart, another center of intelligence and wisdom. Thank yourselves, thank each other for this energy we keep sharing across time and space. Thank you for allowing me to guide you through your practice. I look forward to connecting again soon. Namaste. Thanks, everyone.